Hello and welcome to Mountain Ghost Farm Grow Series, Episode 1 Mixing Grow Media. Today we're going to be mixing cocoa and perlite for our cannabis grow. It's important that when you are using cocoa and perlite, to remember that your cocoa has no nutrients in it. But we will be discussing nutrients in a later episode. The most important thing for this episode is when you are mixing your cocoa or buying pre-mixed cocoa, you must ensure that it is buffered. Buffering I will also discuss in the nutrients episode. Okay, generally when using cocoa and perlite for cannabis, growers use a 70 to 30 ratio of cocoa and perlite. However, that actually depends on the quality and how fine your cocoa is. This is powdery cocoa, and it actually retains a bit more moisture than the rougher, cheaper cocoa. But yeah, sorry for that. Yeah, that means that it will actually need to be slightly adjusted, and I generally aim for a 60-30 ratio when going with cocoa that's super fine, especially if I amend the soil with humic acid. I will also discuss that in the nutrients video. So, first thing, the easiest way to get your ratios correctly into your pot is get yourself a stick. We're gonna call this our ratio stick. Stick it into your pot, get yourself a marker and mark where the level is. Get a measuring tape, just plug that back in, measure it down, and we are about, can we see that on the camera? That's 21.1 centimeters, so we're just going to call it 21 centimeters. We work that out on a calculator. That gives us 12.6 centimeters for the cocoa and 7.35 centimeters for the perlite. And oh, I forgot to mention, I'm also adding in worm castings for a little bit of nutrients, but that's only 5%. That makes up the remaining 5% of my 60-35 ratio of cocoa and perlite. After you've marked it and you've calculated your distances, you just take your measuring tape again and you just mark out where each one goes. So the first one is 12.6. That would be over there. Seriously, I'll actually had free hands, but yeah, humans only have two. Okay, so that's the big one. Then plus 7.35 would give us 19.95. We'll go up 19. Oops. 19.95 is just before the 20 mark. Go our little line there. this in the camera. My apologies. That. Double check it if we're paranoid. And alright. Okay, so that's our marks. That's our top. And we're gonna mark this as 1 G. Okay. Next up, you can just put your ratio stick back in. See, you've got marks. Can you see that on the camera? Maybe. And you start filling it up with your more. I would really recommend buying yourself a large brick of cocoa and pre-mixing it up and storing it in one of these woven plastic bags. It actually allows it to drain out but still remain kind of moist. It's not like super soaked, but it stores quite nice. So all you do now is you start filling this up hand by hand. So we got like about 4 hands in. So push our stick down. We gently tap our pot to get our shape. We do not want to compress the cocoa too hard. Just want it to get a shape. You'll actually feel, you can really gently squeeze it and it will compact itself down, and not you'll feel you need to push down to actually start getting it down even further. And then you just continue on with this. 2, 3, 4, 5 hands. Spread it out evenly and gently compact it. Just sure we can get our pot shape. Material pots, I highly recommend using material pots. They just allow your roots to breathe. It's a lot harder to do over watering. It's a lot less issues with pests. The only thing you have to consider, fabric pots, once you give them water and they get soaked around the edges and soak up the water, they become humidifiers and they will raise your humidity through the roof. So be prepared for that. Okay, we're almost there. Gently press it down. Yeah, we're actually pretty much on our marker. Can we see that? Hopefully. Oops. Okay, let's just gently compact it. You do not want to compact it too hard, otherwise you're gonna have problems with water. Next up comes the important part. Wear a dust mask. You do not want to breathe in perlite's fine dust particles. It will make you so sick, you will regret it. Just put on a mask, and ideally, if you can, put on some shades or something just to help stop dust getting in your eyes, because this does produce a lot of dust. Oh, and if you've got cats around, little lovely monsters that loves to get in the way and sniff everything. Get them out of the way. Don't want them to sniff in that. Listen. Yes, I know I bought a massive bag of this stuff. Our nurseries are ridiculous. This bag cost me the same as like 4, what? 5-liter containers? Something like that, yeah. There. Actually putting a little bit too much. Too little. It doesn't have to be 100% exact. You just need to at least have some space for room castings. In South Africa, Biocast SA. This is like some of the best worm castings I've ever seen in my life. It's like, it looks like coffee ground down. It's so fine, fluffy and pure. No cardboard, newspapers or any junk like that that they use to, raise up the volume of that. Because that's what a lot of them do. They just use junk stuff for their worm castings, and at the end of the day, yeah, you're adding stuff with inks in it, and that's not really something you want to smoke. Because your cannabis plants, they're like a filter plant. They will suck up poisons out of the ground and basically store it inside of themselves and concentrate it. And that's also why I recommend using, good quality cocoa and perlite. And if you cannot get good worm castings, use none. Then using stuff that's, full of chemicals, because they just dumped in whatever they could. So there we go. We're filled up to the top. Still recording, yes we are. And now our final step is mixing everything in. So you get a nice solid plastic bag, and you're looking for a bag with just a single sharp corner on each edge. You get some bags that's got like a flat bottom. Do not use them. Remember, still keep your mask and glasses on, because we're gonna expose ourselves to dust again for this. We'll just pull out our ratio stick. Don't need it anymore. Put a bag over it. Put it in. Back down. Now comes the fun part. You can see this movement for a bit. So it's fine. Bring it down. Now you roll it and just flip it. You don't have to shake a lot round. You will feel it starts, you'll feel crunchy parts of the perlite, and you'll actually be amazed how fast this mixes in. Just randomly rolling it around, taking the bottom contents and just rolling it over the top. Obviously, we keep it closed, otherwise it's pulling everything out. Yeah, that's all we do. Fry it a few times over itself. Of course, this is a little bit crunchy. That's pretty much done it. Open it up, have a look. Could have probably stopped even sooner, but really a minute of mixing in that. And I'll just grab our pot back again and start filling up. Shaking into place. Okay, so technically at this point it's safe to take off your mask, but I still got 2 more pots I'm going to mix after this. So I'm just going to keep it on, and yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm going to pause the video anyway after this, smoke a joint, and then continue on with our 2 pots. Okay, so I'm gently pressing in, not too much. It will compact itself actually naturally when you water it. I'm just maintaining the shape of the pot, leveling everything out, and I'm gently patting it down. So it's so gentle. I'm barely even compacting it. I'm just leveling it out actually, and using my hand to push the pot outwards and use my knuckles to squeeze a little bit of the dirt in there, well, the cocoa. That loose and fluffy. Do not gently pat that down. We want to leave it as fluffy as we can, because we're going to be planting in that, and having it fluffy just means we can spread it, put the seed, pat it down nice, or have it so it's not loose and falling out, but we don't need to compact it at all actually, and there we go. Thank you for watching. I will probably speed through the next part, the next two pots. What do you call it? Time lapse it.